In May of 2019, the Trump administration overturned a ruling that required 2 persons on trains. That would take off the conductor from the train and leave only an engineer. In March of 2019, Representative Don Young introduced a bill, H.R. 1748, called the Safe Freight Act, that would mandate 2 people being on a train, a certified engineer and a certified conductor. I know that most of you have not heard about this or know nothing about it. You don't understand how it may impact you. It is not only an issue for the railroad, but it is an issue of your safety and the safety of your families. Even if you do not live in a town that has railroad tracks running through it, many of you commute to work, to school, take your kids to daycare, many other things, entertainment. You go to places that do have railroad tracks. So this is how it impacts you from the safety standpoint. Should there be a catastrophic event, you are at risk if you are anywhere near those railroad tracks. Your family's at risk, your children are at risk, everyone. It takes one chemical spill of a toxic gas and the right wind direction and wind speed to carry that miles away. So here is why I feel like I need to open an information highway to you all on the safety aspect of this, because we're not getting national or local news coverage on this situation. You are hearing about some of the rail yards that are closing down, many of the layoffs that are occurring, things about future layoffs, how technology is going to replace this second person conductor in the train. So I have a few things to say about that. The trains right now are mostly running with a certified engineer and a certified conductor. The conductor's job is to support the engineer and help him and be a second set of eyes. If something happens with that train and it breaks down, that conductor gets off of the train and goes to find out what the problem is, whether it's a hot wheel, whether it's a broken knuckle, a bad air hose, or many other things. The engineer cannot leave his seat to go do that. The plan is to go to a master conductor that is stationed somewhere that will respond if there is an issue. So let me explain how this fails us in a sense. Should a train break down and not be able to move in the middle of a busy intersection, it could potentially be blocking the path of fire service, law enforcement, or EMS to reach their destination. It could detour their travel by 5 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on which town, which crossing, and where you are. And so that truly becomes a matter of life and death in that situation. If the trains have a conductor on them, they can get off and they can break that train apart and get it moved. Fire service, EMS, law enforcement cannot do that. Only the conductor who is certified and trained to do this can do that. So having a stalled train sitting in the middle of a crossing for an indefinite period of time is a serious issue. Many of us get aggravated now just maneuvering through town and having to wait for a passing train to go by. And we see that these trains are, mile-long trains. So imagine if that train were just stalled and sitting there and unable to be moved until someone was called and dispatched from somewhere else, and they had to drive there and assess the situation, fix it, make a determination for that train to move. With the technology that they are pushing, they are saying that will help the engineer do his job. The positive train control is a tool. It is not a replacement. It is a computer. It is an aid. It is an enhancement. But it is not a replacement for an actual person and second set of eyes and the set of hands on that locomotive. One-man train crews are scary at best. I have been putting forth some time into working with a group of people, over 7,000 strong, from across the United States, from all the different railroads. And when I ask them, what is your major concern with this proposal to go to a one-man crew? 99% of the time, the very first thing they say is the safety of the public. The safety of the public is at a great risk. The safety of our own people are at a great risk. So these people have your safety in mind. They're thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves too. But they always answer first, the safety of the public. Losing one life is not worth it. Losing 1,000 lives in a community over a toxic derail is not worth it. The technology is not reliable. Statistics ran pretty heavy on this positive train control from roughly 2003 to 2016. Someone did ask me, do you think this is related to the election and the presidency of Donald Trump? And my answer to that is no, it's not. It is related to the fact that that is the time the railroads started pushing the positive train control and setting this ball in motion to reduce the crew size. That's why the statistics disappeared. That's why they're not there. It is my understanding that the railroads themselves are not even keeping track of the failures of this technology, that it is up to the workers to report this to their unions. That's only what I've been told. That's only my opinion. So take that for what it's worth. But what I am hearing is that daily, multiple people experience failures with this technology. So if the technology is not solid, it simply cannot be a replacement in any form. If we let the railroads push this issue of a one-man crew and the technology aspect of it, we are all impacted and we are all put in dangerous situations. I felt because there was so little information out there on this particular situation that affects us all, that it was my duty to speak out on it and try to educate the public on things that they may not be aware of. So this information is put in place for you to talk about, to share, to use as a tool. I encourage each and every one of you to write to your state representatives, write to your Congress people, your House people, write to President Trump. Tell him why this is a bad deal, why your safety is at risk, and it simply cannot be. That this is not a negotiable thing. We do not require airlines to run with one person, a pilot and no co-pilot. Why would locomotives be any different? Would you get on a plane and fly from New York to California knowing there was only a pilot in the cockpit? Without backup, without someone to help him, should he incur a health issue or something go wrong? You wouldn't. You wouldn't feel safe doing that. So why would we feel safe in having locomotives running across the United States with only one person on them? This is an issue that matters. It matters for multiple reasons. And as I go forth and make more videos on this, I will give you some examples of things that have been presented to me and that I have collected from actual workers. Incidents, questions, scenarios, facts, many different things. I've already gathered over 200 questions, concerns, complaints, whatever you want to call them, from these railroad people. I compiled that into a 43-page document to have and use as a tool as we go forward in this fight to keep train crews with 2 people on them, a certified engineer and a certified conductor. If you want that information, you can ask me for it. There are Facebook group pages out there that are dedicated solely to this. They have an abundance of information on there regarding this issue. And you can see, just by spending a little time reading, how deep the impact is on this and how important it is. But again, when these people are asked, they say public safety is number one. So we should be behind them and supporting them. They're looking out for us, and so we need to look out for them. And we need to do what's best for our communities, our families, and our children. So I appreciate the time that you took to watch this video, and it's probably a little rough around the edges. I, quite frankly, have never made a video to put on the internet. I've been on camera a few times in my life in other situations, but going this path of Facebook videos or YouTube videos or something else is new territory to me. So bear with me as we perfect this and go forward, and I gather the information that I feel is vital to all of you to be educated on the dangers of this whole thing. Please, please get to your representatives and even the White House and express your concern for the safety of this issue, and let them know that we need to overturn this idea of a one-man crew. Thank you guys, and have a great evening.